Welcome to the Depth Perception Podcast.
We go in depth about the perception and misconceptions of optometry,
which include the business of optometry,
social issues within optometry,
and life as an optometry student.
Coming straight from Dr. Jasdeep Singh Soni,
Dr. Nadia Afghami,
Dr. Douglas Akiti,
and Dr. Svetlana Nunez. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hear ye, hear ye. We're back again. Season 4. Welcome, guys. What's up?
What's
How we
up?
doing?
Yay!
So hyped. So lit. Well, hey, we had to start off today, season 4, with a bang. One of our closest optometry friends, one of my mentors. This is Dr. Vitto Mena. Everyone say what's up.
What's up, Vitto?
Hey, how are you guys? Thank you so much for having me on this big tour you guys are doing, I'm hearing.
So
Wow,
we got to
big
introduce you. I have some stats, we got all the stats for you. We got to lay it down, let the people know who you are in case they don't know who you are. So Dr. Vitto Mena is the sports vision director at Optical Academy in Clifton, New Jersey, where he helps athletes sharpen their visual performances and gain a competitive edge. Not only does he do that, but he also works in going out to the schools in New York, New Jersey, and other states as well, where they give free eye exams to kids in high school and junior high. And I've been blessed to be a part of that for some time as well. Going to his background, he completed his bachelor's and master's degree at Seton Hall University before earning his doctor of optometry degree from the Pennsylvania College of Optometry, South University, in 2014. What makes Dr. Mena stand out is not only his expertise in sports vision, but also his commitment to financial literacy and empowering optometrists to take control of their futures. He's even licensed in life insurance and investments, holding the 2-14, Series 6, and Series 63 financial licenses. So we're here to talk about quite a few things. Let's talk about sports vision. Let's talk about money management. Let's talk about it all because you have a little bit of everything, Dr. Mena. Let's go.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for that nice introduction. What do you want me to start off with first?
Why don't you start off by telling us your journey in optometry, like what led you to specializing in sports vision?
Yeah, sure.
That's
So
my thing.
if it really wasn't for sports vision, that little niche that we have in optometry, I wouldn't actually be an optometrist today. So it's a little unique story. So my senior year of high school, there was like a career connections class. And so I took the class, it's like an online questionnaire. You fill out a few things. And so the two options that it gave me once I filled out the survey was I should either A, be a photographer, or B, I should be an optometrist. And so when I'm looking up optometrists, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of unique. So my professor or teacher at the time, he was didn't have an optometrist on staff. So he was giving me different jobs like, oh, would you want to work like shadow or intern with like Sony? And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool to do that, but that's not really what I want to focus on. And she's like, all right, let me see if I can find something in throughout the curriculum. So he ends up finding an optometrist nearby the high school, and they take me on as a student, as a high school student, as a senior. And I go there for 3-4 months, and I enjoyed it. After completing high school, the owner or the doctor asked me if I wanted to actually work there full time when I was going to undergrad, and I was like, yeah, I would love it. So all throughout undergrad and all throughout my master's degree, the only profession that I've actually ever entered was optometry. But if it wasn't for sports vision, like I said, I wouldn't have gone into optometry. So I was either trying to find if I should go into sports medicine, should I become an OT, PT, should I be a physical trainer or an athletic director? Those were the avenues that I was focusing on. But when I found that there was a little niche in optometry for sports vision, that's what really piqued my interest. And so in school, I went to Pennsylvania College of Optometry. Now they changed the name. It's called Drexel University, which is a D1 school. And my third year of optometry school, as we all know, AOSA for students is the little umbrella for the AOA. And so as a third year student, I was actually honored with the chance of being the national liaison for the sports vision section, which is only given to one student throughout the entire country. So I got in that honor. I started our sports vision program that PCO has currently today. Hopefully it's still alive and well at the school. And I know a few other schools have it as well. And after I graduated from optometry school, if you could believe this, the first 2 years of practice, I actually worked at the office that saw the New York Giants, which is the NFL football team. And so I worked there for 2 years. And then I became the sports vision director of where I'm at today, which is Optical Academy. And so what's unique about our practice is kind of like a pop-up clinic inside of a school district or inside of a work site. And so pretty much what I get to do when I go into the school districts is I talk to the athletic directors, the principals, the trainers, the teachers on number one, the importance of getting a comprehensive eye exam, but also obviously our eyes lead the body. So making sure that they have the appropriate eyewear for either sports goggles or contact lenses. And then what happens if a child suffers a concussion? Then what do you do after that? So there's different treatment options that we can apply to help them get back not only to their sport, but also back to their schooling as well. So that's a little bit about my journey into optometry and the uniqueness of the sports vision umbrella that I guess I have. But I do thank a lot of my mentors in the sports vision space for what I do know today.
Man, that's real cool. And I feel like, this is how we kind of connected because I was super into sports vision and wanting to learn more about that, especially when I was in school. So I too kind of like restarted the sports vision program or club at my school. And I was the president while I was there for 4 years. COVID had happened, things like that. But, I was on the way to starting a collaboration with Special Olympics. I know you kind of work with Special Olympics as well, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you get into that?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I never even heard of Special Olympics, the Opening Eyes program, until I got into optometry school. So I didn't know it existed. So when I was a first year there, I volunteered ever since for my state of New Jersey. And so I really enjoyed it. I was like the first one there, the last one to leave. And then after I graduated a few years later, one of the directors was stepping down and they said, would you like to have this position? And I was well honored for the position. It's a volunteer role. You don't get paid to be a clinical director for Special Olympics. And so I've been doing it ever since I started optometry school, which is back in 2010. And I got trained to be a clinical director, and I've gotten to three USA games. You would think of it like the Olympics, it's only hosted every 4 years. And so the first one that I've hosted was actually in New Jersey in 2014, which is the year that I graduated from optometry school. And then in 2018, it was in Seattle, which is where I got trained to become a clinical director. So that's when I got the role in 2018. And then in 2022, I went to Orlando, and that's where the next USA Games. I think the next one is coming up next year, and it's going to be located in Minnesota for 2026. So for anybody listening here that's in the state of Minnesota, please, I urge you to volunteer at Special Olympics in that area because it's a really rewarding experience. Because there's things that you're going to see there that you normally won't witness in everyday clinic, which is pretty cool. Doug, as you were saying, or Dr. Akiti, if it wasn't for you reaching out and having that mindset, you're a hustler and you wanted to learn about something that you're passionate about, and you reach out to somebody like myself. I gave back just like my mentors gave back to me, and I wanted to share some of the knowledge that I had with you. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be as close to your group or the Depth Perception podcast than I am today. So it's because of you that we're so close, and I'm honored to have gotten to know you and obviously the rest of the team as well, because you guys are obviously doing big things. You're on to season 4. I can't wait till you guys are in season 14 and you're a decade in the making, just to see the output that you're doing. It's just wonderful. So again, I do appreciate you having me on to start off your season.
We're
Appreciate that.
honestly so happy. I know Doug mentioned earlier the opportunities you've given him, but now that I've graduated, I've worked with you as well, and I've had the opportunity to be a part of the Optical Academy team, and we're both really grateful for those opportunities. I wanted to mention one thing. You talked about the distinction you got when you were in third year, and on the podcast, we have a lot of students that listen. We also have a lot of new grads, but let's say that a student is listening. What do you think were the things that you did from first to third year? I know that was like a while back in school,
No, yeah.
but do you remember like exactly what you did to be like, I'm 100% sports vision, and how do I show the school that to then get that distinction? I forgot what it was called exactly, but the distinction that you got, like what were the steps you took, and maybe what's the same steps you'd recommend for somebody else?
Yeah. So the position that I got was called the national liaison position. Yes. So the position that you were talking about, the national liaison position for the AOSA. And so there's different categories. It could be either for low vision or it could be vision therapy. So mine was particularly in sports vision. But my biggest advice that I can give any first year, second year, third year, or fourth year, and it's all the same thing. It's networking. Networking is your net worth. The more people that you go and speak to, And it's not the first handshake. It's not the second handshake. It's not the third handshake. It's the fourth and fifth and sixth handshake. Like, oh, you're serious. Like, I keep seeing you here. It's not like, oh, I saw you one time and that's it. Networking is super crucial. So when you go and volunteer at Special Olympics, who do you think you're going to meet? You're going to not only meet other upperclassmen, you're going to meet doctors there. And they're going to see you for the first, second, and third year. And they're going to have connections and stuff like that. So no matter how smart you are, because in optometry, we're all smart because we all got to that position. There's people that didn't make it. You took out somebody else's seat to get there, right? So you're all smart. How do you differentiate yourself? That is the biggest key to not optometry, to any profession in life. You got to continuously be networking because the more people that you know, they're going to connect you to other people and it just continues and trickles. So obviously you hear that word over and over again about compounding interest. Not only is it just important in finances, but is important in overall everything that you do. It's always putting in the time, just like Dr. Akiti did or Doug. He came out and approached me, but he didn't have to do that. So some people are shy. How do you get over that shyness, right? If you think about it, we went into a profession to help others, right? But we also have to be good communicators. We got to talk to our patients. So if you're not going to be a good communicator, why did you get into the profession to begin with? Unless you're maybe working at a hospital setting and they just want you to treat them right away and that's it, not have much conversation with people. That's what healthcare really is. It's being able to be understanding, hear what people are saying to diagnose them and fix the problem that they're having. So communication is huge, obviously. But number two is really comes down to the network. Going back to answer your question, how to get into that position? Well, number one is you got to be passionate about whatever it is that you're doing. So I was really passionate about obviously about sports. I got involved with Special Olympics. I was able to network with a mentor that was in doing sports vision and who actually started Special Olympics. And so they were the team doctor for the NHL hockey team for the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. And so what the crazy part was when I was a third year student, before I actually got the position, he actually invited me to come do like a vision screenings to the athletes for the hockey team. But it was during a period where I actually had to have finals, and I was like, I can't go over there. It was like 2-3 hour trip for me to go and get my thing done. So I'm like, I got to study, and I'm gonna have another opportunity down the road to do that. And then a few months later, the actual person that invited me passes away, and I can never get that back. So you never know. Time is precious, right? And so that goes into the financial spot about like, are we being important not only on the offense, but we're also important on the defensive side. And so I never got that chance to go see the New Jersey Devils and do a screening with them because I thought that would have the opportunity to do it later on. So the biggest thing is that if someone gives you opportunity, no matter what it is, just say yes. If you don't think you're even good at doing something, even say yes anyways, because you're going to continuously learn new things. You're going to push yourself to understand a new concept that you thought you didn't know. And then once you understand that and you keep pushing yourself and just drive within you, it's going to put you in places that you didn't think you'd ever be in.
A lot there, a lot there. I'm loving what I'm hearing. A couple things that I noted: network. You tied networking into your net worth and attributing that. Talking about compound interest, and then you're talking about concepts, right, and how to apply them, right? So obviously, we're all young ODs here, whether we graduated yesterday or a month ago or 5 years ago. For me, is there anything from your financial standpoint and financial experience that you would have wished you started earlier when you were in our phase of life?
On the financial aspect of things,
Yeah,
yeah. So the biggest asset that we all have, I'll ask each of you, what do you think your biggest asset is?
time.
Exactly correct. It's time. The younger you are, the more doublings you're going to have in your lifetime, right? And so the stock market is cyclical, so they're going to have ups and down years, but every every graduation period, every 4 years, there's going to be 3 years of those going to be up periods, right? And so they would always say you never want to time the market. It's not time. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market is really the key, right? So the earlier you start, the better chances of you becoming wealthy. It's the same thing with just health wise. Good eating habits early on, or the more times you work out, the healthier you're going to be long term. Same thing with money. The earlier you start and you continue that same pattern, the wealthier you get. The problem is that we're not taught that by A, our parents, B, society doesn't really teach it to us, sadly. And so the people really understanding how the world works is banks, Wall Street, right? Life insurance companies. They're the ones that really understand the game to money, and we're just left clueless to figure it out on our own, or we'll just go on social media and try to figure it out on TikTok or Instagram or certain Facebook groups, and we don't really get a professional. So think of this logically. If you have an eye problem, where would you go get a diagnosis done from? You're going to get it from a doctor. Are you going to get that advice from your friend or your neighbor or your family member? Yeah, you could. But then when you do it on the finances side, why do we do that all the time? Why do we constantly ask people that are clueless, that they think they know about money, but you're getting their advice? It's backwards thinking. It's silly in a way. So it's kind of like if you were to like, if someone has an eye problem and they go see their, oh, this is silly, but they'll see the podiatrist, right? But that's what we do when we have talks about money. We'll ask people that are clueless about it. All right, what are your thoughts on this? So it's really coming down to finding a professional to really break it down to you. But it's iffy in the finance space because there's sharks out there, and there's a lot of people that are just working it just for commissions and not really for the best interest of you. So that's another downside to it a little bit. So that's where I was able to be an optometrist, get those licenses, because my job is to educate you guys, because I'm on the same side as you guys. Because if I mess up one of you guys, not only did I mess up you and myself, but everybody else is going to know that. So I have
No,
to
great
do
point.
what's right.
Yeah. Those are great points. We don't just go on doctor to do Google and diagnose and hope our patients do that. So then why should we expect that with our finances? I think it's a good distortion to point out. I guess I am on your OD's finance professional page on Facebook, and so I was just scrolling at some posts here, and you said investing early in time, right? So are you simply referring to the S&P 500? Do you have any other recommendations or thoughts about where to invest over time as young graduates or young ODs here?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, there's many different avenues when it comes to investments, and every investment has risk, no matter what it is, you know. And so the biggest one, the safe one, is obviously the S&P 500. But there's other things that you can invest in, but you got to be cautious about it. Is real estate is another one. Another one is cryptocurrency is becoming a big topic, obviously, with digital currencies, and depending on what the presidency decides, whoever's in office, it doesn't matter. But the biggest investment that I always tell people is that you have to invest into yourself and also your business. So, what's the biggest investment that you guys are doing? You're putting it into your podcast, right? And your podcast, what does it do? It gets people to listen and it gets followers, and people are going to talk about it. And then it's the same thing coming back to your network. Your network is your net worth. So when you invest time into yourself and into your business, it's going to provide dividends that are just greater than 10%, for example. So let's say, for example, if I were to buy a book, a business book, or a health book, whatever the case may be. Let's say I read that book, I gather the knowledge from it. And then let's pretend I create a lecture on it as an example. And then I share that with others. So let's pretend I bought that book for, let's say, 25 bucks. And then I give a lecture on it for 200 bucks or $250. It's a big time invest. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not about where's the 10% or less. How do we find different avenues to make ourselves better? But the biggest key though to true wealth is to create value. Because if you don't create value, you're worthless. That is the key. How do you provide value to another person? And that's what brings them back. That is true wealth.
Lots of nuggets here. This is gonna be a future magic clip for sure when SV's editing here, and it's gonna be on Instagram. So what was interesting when you said there was investing in yourself. I definitely resonate with that. You know, when we saw everybody at the Las Vegas last week, I reiterated to Nadia too. You know, my health is wealth. It comes number one. You know, I can't wake up for a photo shoot, but we made it work. She allowed me to sleep, and that's the thing. I agree with you when you're saying prioritizing yourself. I would love the rest of the pod, like when Meta was saying, "Hey, invest in yourself." What came to your head, or what are you guys doing right now? Is there anything you're doing, or would you like to do, like in terms of investing in yourself? Did anything like come out to your guys' head, Doug, Nadia, SB?
I think that what you said about like your network is your net worth, right? I think we are trying a lot, especially with the podcast. You know, we reach out to guests, and I try my best to make connections with the reps in the area and that kind of thing. So I resonate with that when you say that, because I'm really investing in myself in that way. Especially if I own a practice someday, right? It's nice to know people, because people will help you out, right? And, I might get a deal with this company or that company, and that'll kind of lower my bottom line and then give me more gross income eventually, right? So I really resonated with that, especially anyone else. I think that's it, just me.
Sweat, if you don't have one, I'll go. I
She's
mean,
stunned by
not.
what I told you. That's why.
Yeah, just taking it all in.
I'll go next. I'll go next.
I mean, Nadia mentioned as a pod, we've been trying to invest in ourselves and really push and try to get just more people knowing who we are and get more out there. So us, investing in terms of flying ourselves out, doing the things we have to do to make sure we get to these conferences to be together in person, doing photo shoots, things like that. But also just personally, I feel like it's been birthday season. My birthday was last month, and so getting a little out of shape. I'm like, I've never had a personal trainer, but maybe I need to invest in myself and do that because I'm not fat, but I want good results and I want them quick. So it's like, how do I do that? Maybe I need to invest in myself in that way. So that's one that just comes off top for me.
Oh,
So what you
that's
got?
a good one. Yeah. So some people invest in like a business coach, or like you said, a fitness trainer, or you have a money coach, right? We have all these coaches. So I'm always gonna tie everything back to sports, right? And so like I want myself to be known as, I don't know if you know, the TV network is the FSN network, which is the Fox Sports Network. And so I'm the finance, sports, and nutrition guy. And so when it comes back to sports, the greatest athletes in the world all have a coach, right? But when it comes to money, we try to fend it for ourselves, right? We wing it on our own, right? But we don't have anybody really guiding us, And so coaching is key. Michael Jordan has a coach. LeBron James has a coach. Messi has a coach, right? Yes, they're phenomenal and elite athletes, but they still have a coach that they have to listen to and respond to, right? And so we all need coaches in our lives. And so there's something called the plus and minus system. And the plus means that you have mentors before you. They're going to provide value to you. Minuses are like people that you're mentoring, right? And then you have people that are similar like yourself, right? So always remember that plus minus system because we're always giving back and learning from each other. And so obviously you're gaining nuggets from all these different speakers that you're going to have on season 4, you know. So that is a key takeaway that I would say for sure.
It's for sure. You mentioned coaching and having a financial coach. You can kind of consider yourself as one being licensed in life insurance and investments. How did you get into that? What made you want to get that license? And, what do you do to help people in case people want to reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I came out of left field. I didn't go really looking for it, and so it was actually one of my close relatives, one of their close friends. They were talking to me about how to minimize debt, right? And so you always hear about debt stacking and debt snowballing. You always hear those features, and it's like you hear like Dave Ramsey do these kind of things as well. And so when I was doing a financial game plan, everybody needs a financial game plan. Think of it like in the eyes. Every single person needs a comprehensive eye exam, but everybody also needs a comprehensive financial game plan done. But nobody gets one done because they don't know where to turn to, who to trust, and also it can be quite expensive sometimes. Sometimes those game plans could cost $1, $2, $3, $4,000 just to get those game plans created. So, anyways, when I got my own game plan created, he was telling me about like, hey, there's a mathematical algorithm that will show you based on math how to minimize your debts, whether it's student loans, it could be credit cards, a mortgage, whatever the case may be. Right. So it reshuffles the deck. It'll show you like, okay, what's the balance? What's the interest rates attached to it? All that stuff, right? And it's going to reshuffle the deck to based on this scenario, you'll be out at such and such time. Let's say based on whatever you put in, you're going to be out of debt in the next 7 years. Once you're out of debt in those 7 years, if you were to take that amount that you were to be putting into debt because you would have already paid it off, or you wouldn't have paid it off in those 7 years, if you were to take that 7 years and invest it in a vehicle somewhere, you would have X amount of dollars at such and such time. So I was like, wait, time out. Because whenever you hear about people talking about get out of debt, it's just debt consolidators. You just shift your debt, pay a lower interest rate, and then off you go, right? So when I saw that, I was like, wait, time out. How does that work? And so when I started applying what I was listening to, I was like, holy crap, this is actually fantastic. Like, why doesn't people tell us this stuff? Because in the financial space, they don't want you to get out of debt. They want you to be in debt because they're making money off of the money that you're giving them. So it's like a broken system and it's backwards. So my job is to educate and show someone how to minimize debt, because that's the biggest thing that hinders most people. Now, yes, there's people that are going to be like, oh yes, but you could leverage debt. Yes, you could if you're smart with it, if you know how to leverage debt, because we have to get in debt into number one, become an optometrist or a doctor or any type of professional for that matter. And then you're like, oh, well, what happens if I want to open up a practice? Then you take on more debt as well, right? So that's good debt because you became a doctor and also now you have a practice. Those are good debts. Yes and no, depending on who you're asking, right? Because what happens if now your business doesn't go and then you just have to foreclose your business or foreclose your house? Was that good debt? No, right? And so everything is a risk, no matter what it is. So if I can show someone based on math how to minimize debt and understand all their angles that they have, game on, right? And people need to see that, but people are not shown that, which is a sad thing. And so right now it's kind of tricky because in the world we're always skeptical about stuff. Like, well, what is an optometrist doing as a financial coach or advisor or whatever the case may be? Like, what do they know? Or they do it part time, for example. So think of it logically. You all graduated optometry school. What happens if you said, you know what, I just want to work part time and I want to be a part time optometrist? Does that make you any less of an optometrist because you work part time versus if you were a part time financial person? No. Once you have a license, you pass your testing and you got all that stuff done, game on, right? You own your own business, you work whatever hours you want to work. And so that is what interested me the most, was getting out of debt. Then I go talking to the person that I was chatting with. Is like, I said these words out loud. I said, but I'm a doctor. I really don't care about finances. I literally said those words. And then I said to myself, I heard myself out loud. And I'm like, wait, time out. Now I'm just being ignorant because I need to know about it at the end of the day, anyways. So as I started backtracking myself, I'm like, well, I like talking to people. I know a lot of people. What's the worst case scenario? I get smarter. So then I was like, all right, let me just, study and pass the tests and get my licenses. And once I got it, then after I got my licenses, I was still skeptical. A year into it, I was doing it incognito. I was making sure, like, hey, what I was doing, what I was learning, all that stuff was correct. Once the light bulb finally went off, I was like, okay, game on. Everybody needs to do this conversation. The problem though is that whenever you go and offer somebody something, they're like, yeah, whatever. They're gonna be like, my friends, my parents' financial person, they got me. Yes and no, because if you got a diagnosis at a doctor's office, let's say it's cancer or whatever the case may be, I know that's extreme, but let's say any type of diagnosis, you would most likely get a second opinion somewhere, right? So think of me, even though I shouldn't be your second opinion, but maybe I'm your second opinion to the person that you're seeing. So you're going to have three scenarios in that conversation. A, everything that your financial person just told you is spot on. Don't stop what you're doing. High five. Keep going. Number two is, you know what? If you tweak it here a little bit, maybe 1 or 2%, you'll actually improve. And very rarely people are going in the absolutely wrong direction. Right? So all three of those scenarios are really good. Right? And so out of all the conversations that I've had maybe one that had everything firing on all cylinders. And I've sat with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and not just in optometry, I'm talking about different areas of expertise. It's because people are not taught business or how money works. They're taught theories and philosophies, and they're thinking, oh, investment means just putting money into the S&P 500. That is not what investing means. Investing means insurance, debt, mortgages, brokers. It could be debt consolidators, and the list goes on and on. And so there's so many different caveats to the world of finance. It's not just, okay, put my money here and that's it. That's finances. No.
I love that. I think Svet has a comment really quick, and then I have a comment after.
No, I feel like I understand why you're a speaker and you speak everywhere because you give so many analogies and it's so easy to relate. And I think you really dive for a theme or point or main idea you have, you like break it down into like bite-sized pieces, and I think that our listeners are really going to get some great advice from you. I have so many questions, but I'm going to let Nadia ask her question, and then I have another question before we wrap everything up.
Yeah. And I just want to say, you said about being a part time this or that. I want to say what I said to JD, which is like, don't be afraid to use like being an optometrist as a power, because sometimes it feels like it's like a negative, right? You talked about plus and minuses, but I think it's a positive because it makes you different. And so don't be afraid to kind of lean into that as well. So I just wanted to comment on that. But I really kind of want to talk more about the way that I first met you was through conferences and through your photography. And I want to have you chat about that a little bit before we go to Svet's next question, because I think it's super cool and it's super interesting. And I know we talked about it before, and you kind of use it as a way to connect as well. And I tell the people, because some people don't know, but if you guys ever see Vitto at a conference, like, you got to hit him up. He's got his camera ready for him. So can you speak on that a little bit, Dr.
Yeah,
Mena?
for sure. I appreciate you bringing that topic up. So I know it's a little odd if anybody sees me walking around with a DSLR camera just people are gonna be like, this kid's weird, just taking shots of me randomly and just, so, but I started doing that in actually in undergrad. I had a really small point and shoot camera, which I actually had in optometry school. When Facebook came out is really when I started really taking photos, because I didn't really take pictures before then. Because then I started posting it on social media, obviously. But first year of optometry school, I would take pictures of any party that we were, mostly parties. And then obviously, well, in class sometimes or in clinic, I'll take photos, right? And so what I would do always till this day is I would then upload the photos, create a Facebook album. Back then, there was no limit on like how much you can do. So back in the day, I would have like thousands of pictures inside of an album. And so what I would do is not only would I upload them to Facebook, I would also caption every single photo, and I will also tag people. So when I would tag people, I was like the major networker. I was kind of like, think of it like I was Mark Zuckerberg connecting people with other people in school. They're like, oh, they were at the party. Now I'm connect with them. I'm going to add them as a friend, right? And so people seem to enjoy it. Now 10 years, or I'm out 11 years now. Some of my classmates will say, hey, thank you so much for taking those photos, because now it's all memories from the past, because without you we wouldn't have had those memories. And so but one, I did it just for fun and passion. I like doing that. I know it's weird to do that, but to do those albums that you see me put up on Facebook, whether it's 500, 600, it takes me at least minimum time, 15 hours minimum, to do all that.
The
And that's
caption too.
with
You
the
got
captions and
everyone
tagging,
tag.
like that's insanity. Like, who's going to do that? Nobody's going to do that. That's why you don't see anybody do that. I'm the only one that does that, because it's way too time consuming. And why would you do that? Right. And so I found a passion doing it. It's just the joy that I have of just taking photos, and it brings a smile to my face. I don't know if you ever see online, it's you need a certain amount of hugs to bring joy out of your life. There's some research studies on that, but I like connecting with other people, and that, again, your network is your net worth. The more people that you see, and people will always remember me like, hey, you remember the kid with the camera? Like, they'll remember me because of that. Or so it's like a different way to differentiate myself, which is a weird way. But my camera has gotten me so many different conversations that I never would have had. Like, I have random people that are at just parties in general. They just think I'm the photographer for that event, and they're like, "Hey, can you take a picture of me?" And I'm like, I just play along. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take a picture of you," but I have no idea who they are, right? And they're not an optometrist, they're not a student or anything like that. They're just like, at a bar or something like that. And so I have connected with so many different people just because of my camera. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I just kept up with it, not because of the connections that I make. It's just the joy that I have for doing it. And so, again, you guys seem to like it, so I guess I'm doing something right.
Yeah, we appreciate you, our little paparazzi sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
One of the
Go ahead,
questions
Nadia.
No, it's okay, Svet, go ahead.
One of the questions that I wanted to end the podcast on, and we know that you're busy in sports vision. We know that you have the passion for passion and licensing for finance, and you're helping other optometrists with their finances, giving them advice. You got your camera with you. You have your dog. So what I wanna know is, like, what does your work week look like? Like, are you in clinic as well? Like, what does your Monday through Friday look like? And then how do you relax? So what is it for you? I know you have your pup, and I can make some assumptions because I also have a dog. But then how do you relax? Like, what else besides photography, what else do you do?
Yeah, so again, it's always sports. So, well, I have a pool in my house, so I'm always swimming. So I like to do laps, and so that's how I stay in shape. And so I like to play. I shoot some hoops here and there. I try to challenge Dr. Akiti sometimes on Instagram. I'll take a shot here or there and challenge him in that sense. But my normal Monday through Friday. So Optical Academy, which is located in Clifton, New Jersey, which is about 20 minutes from New York City. And so it's a regular brick and mortar practice. So I see 2-year-old all the way to 100-year-olds. And so I would say maybe 3 or 4 days a week, I'm actually in the office. And then the other days, I'm actually on site somewhere, whether it be a school system or a work site. That's usually my day to day. If I'm not there, then usually I take my vacation days, and I'm usually out at a conference. So I'll either be at optometry's meeting, or I'll be at Vision Expo, or I'll be at Academy. And I take my self days just to educate and network with other people. Those are my So me being around people, I guess because I'm an extrovert, me being around other people gives me an added jolt. Majority of optometrists are just in the health professions. They're more timid, in a way, or shy, so they don't go out and talk to other people. That's just what I've experienced throughout my time. So when I get to interact and talk to you guys, or that's fun for me. But just watching sports for me is another avenue for me. And then the second thing is, I know this is not a good vice to have, but I do like to gamble, meaning like I gamble in the casino, meaning like I'll play either Texas Hold'em, where I'm not facing the actual casino, I'm actually facing just normal human beings. So I'm pretty decent in that game. But a game that I do like to play in the casino that does have a house edge, because the house always has an edge in any game that you play, is craps, which is, you throw the dice, and when you start the game, you want to roll a seven, and then the game starts, you don't want to roll a seven anymore. But those are the things that I like to do. And so I do own a timeshare in many different parts of the state. And so I usually head down to Atlantic City or in Vegas. And so I'll usually be out there doing those things. Other joys that I have is that I have the luxury of being a speaker. People ask me to come lecture in different areas. And so again, I get to see other people while I'm lecturing. I'm truly passionate about all the different areas that I talk about. Like I said, the FSN channel, it's going to be finance, sports, and nutrition. Those are the three biggest key areas that I like to speak about the most. And then coming in fourth for me would be myopia management. And the reason why is because I work in the school districts. And right, that's a huge boom in the industry, right? We always want to make sure that we slow down the progression as much as possible. Now I think we just got an FDA approval finally in the States, for the new glasses, the myopia management glasses, and then there's going to be newer drops that are coming out similar to atropine. They're going to be out on the market. So myopia management is a hot topic. And then just going back again, Svetlana or Dr. Nunez, about sports vision, I'm actually creating now in the AI space a performance vision platform, and it's called Omniverse City. And so my theme is going to be called Game On. And so the GAME stands for gaming, AI, metaverse, e-gaming, and then the on is Omniverse City, which is pretty much optometry, ophthalmology, and opticianry all together. And then the N is nutrition, not only for your body, but nutrition. So nutrition of your health, but nutrition of your business. Because again, obviously, I talk a lot about nutrition, and I also have my financial licenses. So I'm talking about how you can promote your business in the AI world through different avenues. So definitely stay tuned for that, because our industry is not ready for it. Well, we see things like, oh yeah, I'm using AI, but you're not really using AI. When you see the platform that I'm in the sports world, you'll really understand it. So maybe we'll have you guys be maybe potentially the main podcasts for the Omniverse City. Maybe you guys get that luxury of doing that, because you guys have been so nice to me. So that is what I have coming up in the sports world. So in that sense, we're really focusing more on e-gaming, because everybody's on a computer in school, or they're playing on an Xbox or PlayStation, right? Or they're playing on a desktop computer with fancier headsets that I have. And so with the Omniverse City, we're actually partnering with Valhallen. Valhallen is an esports community for high school students. So they actually have their championship game actually happening at UNLV, which is hosted in Vegas. It's the university. And so we are actually doing a platform there. So right now we are currently partnered at the moment with Fortnite, and we actually are going to be doing some FIFA events. So if you guys are not following what I'm doing, you're missing out. Not you guys, I meant the world.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Charlene with the Omniverse. We definitely had some conversations with her, and yeah, we're excited to see what you guys have coming in store with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Where can they find you, Dr. Mena? Do you want to give them some hashtags, some handles?
Oh, sure. So Instagram, my name there is Vitto, Vitto, and then Dr. Worldwide, Dr. Worldwide. So Vitto Dr. Worldwide. On LinkedIn, it's just my name that you see on the plate here. It says Vitto Mena. That's me on LinkedIn. You could always email me. My email is Mena, MENA, V as in Victor, ITT @gmail.com. And then, as you guys were mentioning, you guys are part of my Facebook group. So you're more than welcome to be a part of it. It is called OD Finance Professionals. I've stayed in tune with me, and it's really fun times out there. And it's a really exciting area of vision right now, because of all these, you see meta everything everywhere, all these smart glasses and these nuanced glass gearing to the vision system, right? And so we're in the prime area of optometry right now because of all the AI stuff coming out. So our profession has a leg up, which is nice. So I'm excited for what the future holds.
That being said, we definitely appreciate you having you on today, our first guest of season 4. Thank you so much, Dr. Mena, and we'll see you probably at the next conference with the with the camera and everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'll
You
be
know
at
where to
Academy.
find us.
I'll be at Academy. So if anybody sees me there, can't wait.
All
Okay.
right. With that being
Thank you for
said,
coming
y'all have a
on.
good one. Until the next time. Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Depth Perception Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms, including
Spotify,
Instagram,
Google Podcast,
Apple Podcast.
YouTube. Make sure you click that button. Double tap that.
So you guys have no reason not to follow us and tune in to the next episode.
Stop wasting time.
Get in depth.
Subscribe.